Frank Talk with Kebby Maphatsoe continues. Okay, please answer this thing about almost like an active army still exists kind of feeling. What's happening with that?
JJ, Umkhonto Wesizwe was disbanded in 1993. So then in 1996 an association was formed.
Yes.
But the issue of history, heritage and legacy, we still need to preserve it.
Yes.
So why comrades were wearing the uniform?
Yeah.
It's not a militia. It's part of our
heritage.
Our heritage that identifies us. But we are dealing with that issue also to say, when should we wear that uniform?
Yeah. Is it allowed in terms of the law to wear a uniform that looks like you are a part of the army when you're not?
This is our heritage that we must protect it. So we normally use this uniform at the funerals.
Yes.
To give respect to our comrades who are soldiers. That's where it must be used.
Only.
I must agree that some of our comrades have been misusing it in a sense that it has been abused.
Yeah.
So we're speaking with one voice as cadres that uniform is a control item according to the defense force. Nobody can just wear
a uniform.
A uniform.
Randomly.
But randomly. This one is our heritage. We are preserving it. But we must have occasions where we must wear it.
Yeah.
Not just in the street you find somebody walking around with a uniform. That's ill-discipline.
Because that stuff is being sold at shops. I always have something looks like that. Use a green thing, They say Winnie Mandela passed away to celebrate. But it's not a uniform. It just looks like a camouflage thing. And this is part what looked like that in that parade or march or defense of Luthuli House thing. It looked like that, and it cheapens that uniform when you do that.
One of the things that you're correct with that is that some of the people who want to discredit MK community, they use some civilians, they buy this uniform, you're correct, and go and disrupt some projects and other things, and they call themselves MK. When you go and investigate, you find that there's no MK here. So that is why we are saying we want to control it. That it must only be worn at the funerals of our comrades, so that we must be able to deal with this corruption that is happening. That they use this uniform because you can buy it.
You can buy it anywhere.
That's why we want to be very, very hard.
But what about the youngsters? I didn't hear you condemn this thing of youngsters. I mean, these people look like, they were wet behind the ears, and they are wearing this uniform, trying to guard the Luthuli House. I mean, please address that for me.
That's why I'm saying there are people who come in between this thing of verifying. So others, they are used. Comrades, they buy these comrades to increase their numbers in the provinces. That is why we're cleaning this thing of the data. But there is a generation that came in the 90s that trained in Uganda and Tanzania. This is a fairly young generation that you will find in Umkhonto Wesizwe. But I must agree with you that indeed there are some comrades who are abusing this thing and giving it to people who are not members of MK. So we're condemning that as a community of MK, as the leadership of MK, that it must never happen again.
One of the things that you talked about now is taking care of the veterans. I had a couple of months ago some veterans who came to the show here following a screening of a play at the State Theatre called Angola, and they were talking, with pain in their eyes about Quattro, and they were talking in pain in their eyes about how they, everybody has forgotten, them and so on. But more crucially, there are 320 graves in Angola right, of MK people who died there, which have not been repatriated. Is this something that's on your agenda? First of all, in terms of taking care of comrades who feel aggrieved by what happened in Quadro. Secondly, repatriation of those graves, 320 of them. It's a mass grave, man. That's happening in Angola, and nobody's talking about repatriating those graves.
JJ, I never worked for the intelligence in exile.
Yeah.
But there was a necessity to have Quadro.
Okay.
Because we were highly infiltrated.
Yeah.
So where do you keep the enemy agents?
Yeah.
That's the place that they were kept. That's what is called Quadro, because they were enemy agents. But Quadro was also a rehabilitation center to say, but comrade, why did you work for the enemy? So it's part of correcting the comrades not to work.
So everyone who was in Quadro was an enemy agent? Is that what you are saying?
I'm saying I was never in the intelligence, but people who were in Quadro.
Who were held in Quadro, tortured there, killed some of them.
Well, I don't know that, JJ.
So it's written everywhere.
I don't want to commit myself because I was never in Quadro. So, but indeed, we must accept our mistakes.
Yes.
As an organization. Appreciate where we made mistakes. Indeed, there were comrades who were arrested in Quadro who were not enemy agents.
Yes.
So there was not a thorough screening of those
who ended up
comrades.
there.
Yeah. So if comrades misbehaved in a way, they would suspect him as an enemy agent. So I think as the ANC, we did not address those aggrieved comrades who were arrested wrongly.
Wrongly, yes.
Wrongly, you see. We did not bring closure to that. So I must say also our repatriation coming back, it was not well organized.
Sure.
That is why we're still having this problem of the welfare of other. It's not like other liberation movements where it was organized. So we will just say, get in the plane, left at OR Tambo, get into the taxi, go home. So it's only after 1994, 95, 96 that when we rose up and said, but look, we have not been taken care of.
Yeah.
We were never cancelled. That is why some of our comrades, they sleep under the bridges.
Sure.
You know, it is because this thing, that what is called post-traumatic stress disorder, the counseling was not done for our comrades. That's why sometimes you will see others behaving in other ways. So that's why you still see that anger in some of the comrades, because it was not corrected. But with time going on, we tried to convince the ANC that here you did not treat us correctly. And that is why we're having this conference.
Yeah.
It's also to try and correct our mother body that there are things that you did not do.
But what about the graves? Address me on that.
Yeah.
Are you linking the issue of the enemy agents with these graves that are there, or there were other people who died there who were not in Quadro necessarily, but died in exile?
Yes, I was coming to that, JJ, is that there was war in Angola. We were fighting with UNITA of Jonas Savimbi, an extension of the apartheid regime. And we lost most of our comrades in that war. And may their souls rest in peace. It's very emotional, JJ, this story of the graves of our comrades lying outside the country. It's not only in Angola, but Angola, there was war. There are other graves in Tanzania, in Uganda, even in Europe. You still have Zambia. You have the graves of leaders of the ANC who have not been repatriated. But we took a resolution, I think, in 2012, Mangaung Conference, that there must be exhumation, repatriation, and reburial of our comrades who were buried in exile. But it's not an easy task, JJ, it comes with resources. And also, there are families when you meet with them, others they say, we don't believe in that.
We don't believe in
exhumation. Yes. Yeah. But the majority of the families, they want their children who remains alive in exile to come back.
So that all over, not just in Angola.
Yeah, it's all over. So it's a process that needs a budget, and it's not going to come cheap.
But have you costed it? Have you
not yet?
Is there a program that says there are so many? For example, is there even a recon that says of those 320, just to focus on the Angola one, where there is a lot of things written about those 320 graves. Apparently, there are even landmines put over those graves and stuff, because another excuse of other leaders who say, no, we can't dig them up because there is mine. The whole place is full of landmines because they were put there and they didn't want them to be stolen or something.
No, I don't buy in the story of landmines. Yes, indeed, they were mined to protect them so that the enemy cannot come and exhume them, or anything happens there. So we have a very highly resourced defense force that assisted other countries
in demining. Yeah, so they can do that.
So they can also do that and go and demine those graves. I don't buy in that excuse of that because of mines. We can demine if we have that that thing that we want to do. It is the government. It's not only an issue of MK. It's now the issue of government.
Government to government coordination, because the Angolan government as well, I'm sure, would not want to hang on to the graves of people who are not their own people.
You might be surprised with that, JJ, that some of the countries, including Angola, it's saying, but comrades, how are we going to show other countries that we contributed in the
Seriously?
Yes.
No.
They will say, please leave them. At least come and build something here. So there are that engagements with the...
You can always have tombstones, but move the bodies.
Yes, that's one of the things that I think at the conference it is going to be raised sharply. Because,
But I'm surprised that it took 25 years to raise such a big issue. I mean, if you were part of a team that went to exile, somebody died there and you come back, let's take you 25 years to say, let's bring this person back home. It's like a very late and slow reaction to something very big.
When we engage with this thing, JJ, there was never a resolution in the ANC that let's have this thing of repatriation and repatriation. We pushed it, as I'm saying, in 2012 conference. And then it was the decision of the conference that those comrades must be exhumed and repatriated back home. Presently, what is happening, if my family have got money,
they can go and exhume.
I can go and exhume my brother and bring him back. And the other families that are poor
can't do
that. They think the government is separating.
Quickly, just address this one of repatriation just one more time. So, the big names like J.B. Marx, there's the other fellow who was in New York, who was brought back. I don't remember his name now. He was a journalist who was also involved in struggle. So there's been pockets of repatriation here and there, right? But clearly no concerted effort to say this is a big thing. Let's just bring the bodies home. What your last word on this?
I think, JJ, we must not be afraid to criticize our government. That it did not do well in this thing of the repatriation. You see, the more you bring others and leave the others behind, those parents of whose children are lying in exile, they feel very strong that the ANC, it seems, if you're not a high-profile leader,
then you don't matter.
It doesn't matter, which is not the truth. I think we must correct that. That's what I'm saying. Going to the conference, it's one of the things that we want to raise sharply. But there's a resolution of 2012 that is just to push the government that don't leave this resolution behind.
Yeah.
It must be implemented, just like other resolutions.
Did you feel constrained, though, to implement? Because you're in charge. You're part of the Department of Military Veterans. And I would have assumed that if the conference was in 2012, that's long ago,
yes,
and then your term of office followed, did you feel constrained to do that? Because it seems to me on two counts. One, taking care of the veterans, so you don't have veterans sleeping under bridges. Two, repatriating bodies of other veterans who died in exile. Should have been the only thing that was the program of action of that department.
No. JJ, as I said, this was a resolution.
Yes.
As the ruling party, it was given over, not to the Department of Defense and Military Veterans. It was given over to the Department of Arts and Culture, because that's the one that deals with it. They have got a project that is called the Liberation Route.
Yeah.
So they were busy with it. I think one of the things is maybe to invite the Department of Arts and Culture
and ask them about this.
About this party. Our position is that there must be exhumation.
But you should have supervised them. I mean, you can't pass them up on this one. Because they don't know anything about veterans.
It's a joint. There was an interministerial committee established on that. But where we need to criticize, we must criticize.
Yeah.
And other things must move. I think this thing was left hanging. It's a hot potato.
Too unattended.
It's a hot potato.
And I don't know why it should be a hot potato.
Yes. It shouldn't be a hot potato. Just like I'm saying, when we came back from exile, if there was a concerted effort by our government to deal with the plight of the former freedom fighters, we wouldn't be having these challenges now.
Absolutely. Let's go to the lines now. Godfrey in Hammanskraal. Good evening.
How are you, Mayor?
I'm all right. How are you, Mayor?
Great, man. Look, I just want to ask Maphatsoe there regarding what is their view about the factional battles that we see in ANC playing out clearly in the horizon, whereby the NEC of ANC agreed that they're not going to support Jacob Zuma in his criminal case. And then the General Secretary yesterday came out blazing, saying that there's nothing like that, we're going to wear T-shirts, support that man. He's like any other president, former president of ANC. Now, we don't hear Maphatsoe coming out to say, to have a position on this particular matter. Is he for a particular faction, this particular organization? Are they for a particular faction of ANC, or they want to see a united ANC?
Yeah, all right. Just stay on the line there. Let me just get a response. These factional things, man, it just looks ugly from outside. What is the MK doing? Because you are supposed to be almost like a depository of wisdom, isn't it? With all the veterans who have been there, who have sacrificed. And then you have these factional things that also now clearly have afflicted you, but they continue to play themselves out every single day. What is your position of the MKVA on this?
Going to this conference, JJ, we have adopted the theme, is that a united MK for a united African National Congress. So we are saying the ANC has invested a lot on this cadres of Umkhonto weSizwe. Indeed, this thing of factionalism, it's a wrong thing. It kills the organization. So it is one of the things that we are going to deal with at the conference, that let's stop factions in the ANC, because it kills the organization. That is why OR said there is no one who will destroy the ANC from outside.
Yeah.
The ANC will only be destroyed from inside.
His words seems to be coming to pass, because just 6 months ago, former President Zuma went to a state capture commission and started telling us people are spies. I mean, this is unheard of, because in the ANC, even if you knew who were spies, you don't go and announce, because being labeled a spy can have a target on your back. In the past, people would be burnt alive. I mean, it's just, it's shocking. And the issue is that I didn't hear MK condemning this, condemning President Zuma, for a change, and just saying, but this is wrong, Msholozi. How do you just point people and say you are a spy? A court of law had to actually rule him out of order when he was saying Derek Hanekom is a spy.
JJ, as I said, we are going to a conference where we were divided, holding different views. Now here I'm representing
a
joint committee.
Yes.
So there is no view on that. So I can't speak something that we have not discussed. So our view is
but you didn't start existing now. But you know, when this thing happened, which is quite a serious thing. I mean, imagine if somebody said you are a spy, and I mean, you would not have kept quiet. You won't dilly-dally to say no, but they are wrong. I'm just worried that some of these things are like own goals for the movement. You know, I mean, how do you justify this kind of behavior from a leader of the stature of a former president?
You know, JJ, that's what I'm saying. I don't want to comment on this one.
Enter the fray.
You know, if we were still MKMVA, we had our view.
I see.
So, but now that we are going to a united conference,
you'd rather
rather not comment and leave it to the conference to decide.
Yeah. But the factions that, like, I mean, this thing about, so you don't have a view now about this thing of supporting Zuma into court cases and what, I mean, when I listened to it, if I was hearing this for the first time, it sounded like a reasonable thing. You know, your president is going through a court process, you can support him. It doesn't sound controversial.
Look, President Jacob Zuma, it's a former commander of Umkhonto weSizwe.
Yeah.
And that is why we still support him. You know, he's a former commander of Umkhonto weSizwe.
Yeah.
But there's an NEC decision of the ANC.
Yes.
That those who want to go and support him, they will go there as individuals.
Oh, I see. Which is the opposite of what the secretary said yesterday. Because he said exactly the opposite of this. He said you can wear a T-shirt of Zuma, you can support him as the ANC, and there's no problem. There is an ANC leader.
Yeah, I'm speaking from what I don't know if there was another NEC resolution.
Yeah.
But the NEC resolution decision, it was that anyone who wants to go and support Comrade Jacob Zuma can go on his own.
Personal capacity.
Yes, but I don't see anything wrong because, you see, the NEC also must think before it takes some of these decisions.
Okay.
Because Jacob Zuma has got support. You cannot deny that. But if you say comrades go there on their own, how do you control people saying they must not wear the T-shirts?
Yeah.
And how do you monitor? Are you going to charge?
So it was not a bright decision in your view?
Yes, it was not, in my view, a bright decision to say. Yeah. I mean, these are allegations against President Jacob Zuma.
Yes.
He has not been found guilty.
Yeah.
You know, we have people in the NEC who are facing charges also.
Yeah.
But there's not been a decision to say this and this. It said, the NEC said no, it is their own personal.
Yeah. So it's not consistent.
Yeah, it's not consistent. So that's what brings factionalism in the ANC.
Sure.
So we think Comrade President Jacob Zuma must be treated. You know, he's a former president of the ANC.
Yeah.
And a former president of the Republic. I think he needs to be given that support by the organization. He never sold out the ANC.
Yeah.
You know, he even sacrificed his life. You know, even including these issues of being tried to be killed in exile. I'm not talking about the present one, but I think the NEC must review.
Yeah. Sorry, I forgot Godfrey. Sorry, man. Your last bite.
Hey, somebody look. Maphatsoe is rendering MKMVA useless because he's saying they don't have a view until Congress, which means that they will take 2 or 3 years before they can have a view while things in ANC are playing out in the horizon. But my last contribution is that does he think that ANC is still credible to lead South Africa, or they must call it a quit and say we failed in the rest of 25 years that we've been here, because we have so many elements in this country because of this African National Congress. Thank you very much.
All right, Godfrey he's not a fan at all. Briefly, you know, does it worry you really, the way things are happening? I mean, it's like we've lost control of things, you know. You switch on the radio, you know, you see the former premier of the Northwest there in court to him for Bongo, you know. Bongo, who was promoted after being accused, he was promoted. Now we are running around trying to to clean up after him. You switch, you hear Carl Niels and yourselves at the airport, then the secretary says something else. Does all of this worry you in terms of that what we seem, the center seems no longer to be holding?
JJ, you see, that's why I'm saying I'm representing the Sixer side here.
Yeah.
If you invited me as MKMVA to speak on MKMVA, I would explain some of the things. So I don't want to break the principle that we agreed on as the Sixer side. That is why we communicate first before I come here and how to respond to some of these issues. I'm very disciplined. Just putting myself in the decisions that we have taken as a Sixer side. I don't want tomorrow when I meet with them, they say, no, why did you say this and this and this and this without our money?
Is it democratic centralism?
Yeah, but we are going to the conference.
Yeah.
So once we go to the conference, we want presently to send one message, many voices of unity of Umkhonto weSizwe and the unity of the African National Congress.
I'm going to have to leave it there. Please do come back because I'm quite interested in some of your views about what is going on, and it may be better if you return once the conference has happened. When is the conference itself happening?
The conference is starting from the 12th of March to the 15th of March.
All right, fantastic. So we'll invite you again after the conference. But thank you so much for making the time to talk to us.
Thank you, JJ.
All right, that's Kebby Maphatsoe there, representing the Six-a-side ahead of a very important conference that hopefully will emerge with a united MK structure that they can also be part of a rebuilding our movement as well as our country going forward. Let's take a break now.